We're doing a bit of winter maintenance. You can see our conifer hedge. We've got a few holes in it here because we've got a bit of dieback going on. And that's the frustrating part about it, because we're not doing anything harmful to it. Well, we don't think we are. We've got beautiful mulch down. This is from Mulch Express. We put plenty of pine bark down, and it holds the weeds back. It keeps the moisture in. You can see I've kicked it around a little bit here. Have a look at this. Look at that. There's moist underneath there. It dries out on top because you've got the air on it. And this gets no sun in the winter. Autumn, winter, because the sun's so low. You know, behind me is north, so I'm facing south. And we've got roses here, which I'm going to take out one day. I'm going to keep persisting with them for now, another season of them. But if they don't do too well, meaning if they don't grow nice and tight, I'm going to pull them out and put some camellias, because they'll be a better choice in this space. Because what they do is they reach out here, they arch out here to try and get more sunlight. They're not getting enough sun. So that's that okay for now. But as far as the conifers, if you've got a conifer or conifer hedge growing and you see a little bit of browning off on the tips, don't ignore it. Get onto it, because that is basically, what do they call it, conifer cancer or canker. It's a dieback, and it's a virus thing or bacteria that gets into the plant. Without a doubt. He has not failed. That's Jack, if you heard that in the background. Always barking for attention. Jack, please. Please, Jack, that's okay. Now put the ball down. All right, come over there. Sit down. Now, with a conifer cancer or canker, you need to cut it out. Look up here. Yeah, nice and tall, aren't I? We're going to cut that out completely. I'm going to get the ladder, obviously, get up there and clean that out properly. You can't leave any of that in there. And what I'm finding is with a dieback, part of it, yes, it does spread, but the other part also is, I mean, this is a bit thinned out here, but there are other areas. And come down here. Look at this. Look at this. Now look at the vibrancy difference. New growth, no growth, dehydrated. You're going to tell me that this English box below it here is sucking the water out of it? Such a big plant here. That is struggling, and that's got a lot of dead foliage in it. Look at that. All those needles have to be shaken out. That's suffocating the plant. You can't, oh my Lord. Look at it. Look at it. All this has to be cleaned out. Now, that's my job. No one else's at the moment, is it? I love my veggie garden, but if I ignore this ornamental garden and this beautiful hedge, well, I'm going to lose this one too. And I can't afford to do that, because it's a beautiful hedge, and I'm going to work on it. So I've got to cut all this back and make sure you've got clean secateurs, spraying with your metho. I'm cleaning all this out here too at the same time. And get in there and just pull out as much as you can. I'm not going to get it all out, and you're not going to get it all out in the one go if you've got a huge hedge, but if it's only one or two plants, take your time, clean it out. Take your time to clean it properly, get rid of it. Mine's falling on the ground. I'm going to have to rake it all up as best I can, so we don't have any virus spreading and all this stuff that we can't see with our naked eye. And anyway, on the other side of this hedge, there's another garden. I haven't shown you that one yet, have I? Come on. What's wrong? What's wrong? You want the ball? Here, get the ball. Come on. Come on. Cara, what are you doing in there? This way. This is the other side of the hedge where the sun shines. Now, have a look. I've cleaned out this lower section, all these little gaps. You can see the hedge is ready for another prune. I can't let it grow too long because it'll be too hard to prune with the hedge trimmers. And I've got to get up there with the ladder and clean all that out. And that's the hole. That's where we were at before talking. This is the other side. Now, our lovely dogs have decided to use this as a thoroughfare for getting through one side to the other. And they've travelled through here all the time. And if you notice on the other side, I'm not sure if you picked up on that, but the English box has been destroyed as well. That's pets for you, mate, in the garden. Worry about the veggie garden. What about the ornamental garden? We love these plants just as much. Now, we're walking into our little Japanese garden, folks. This is a little area that we've got a bit of work to do on. And it's a hot spot. In summertime, it is a hot spot. But my main priority here is the hedge. Clean all this out. This has happened in the last month or so. You turn your back on it because I've been focusing on our fruit trees and our vegetables, and all of a sudden the hedge is going, hey, what about me? So I'm going to be punching some major holes into that, just like that over here. Have a look at this. All this has to come out. It's dead in there. it doesn't recover. It won't grow back from that old wood down at the bottom there. You're going to expect or rely on these branches here to start filling in and filling in those gaps. So you're going to get some really odd shape growth coming on and trimming it to shape so you can fill in those gaps. But the rest of the garden, you know, I started weeding this as well. And a garden is always a work in progress. It will never, ever be a complete garden, folks. And it's not a paint job where you do the painting, you put it up on the wall and just look at it for the rest of your life. This garden is always evolving. Every season it changes. You know, come summertime, the weeds disappear pretty much on their own. At the moment, have a look at this. These are the weeds that I pulled out yesterday. I only spent about half hour or so with my son in here pulling weeds out. And today, I'm going to come in and finish cleaning off the rest of the conifers. But come summertime, all this dies off. All these weeds won't be here. They'll die off on their own. It gets quite hot here. Even this dichondra here, look at this beautiful ground cover. Now this is all pebbles. Have a look. I'm going to kill these dogs. Really am. Have a look at that. I'm going to step over here. This is a little mound of pebbles. Little night lights. Yeah, they don't fall off on their own, you know that. Kara's pathway. That's another entry point she has. I may as well put a couple of gates for you. What do you reckon? Now I'm sitting on this mound here. It's got beautiful soil underneath. It's compacted because obviously I'm stepping on it all the time, or the dogs are. We've got a couple of saxifragas going here and dichondra around the base. It travels really well in the cooler months where there's no sun shining on it too much. It'll tolerate some sun, but it needs its moisture as well. And the weeping maple is beautiful too. This is a little dwarf maple you can have as a ground cover around it. But bear in mind, in summertime, if this gets a full-blown sun and it's a hot spot, it will die back. And that's what happens to this. But you can keep it hydrated and it bounces back really quick. And it was only 2 or 3 little plugs we put in here, folks. Literally 2 or 3 little plants this size. Now, this is a year and a half, 2 years later. We're talking 5 meters in length. It's traveled through. Ignore the grass. We've got some powers and what are they called? Tanikas growing there. But ignore the weeds, is what I wanted to say. Ignore those weeds. That's what we're doing here. We're going to clean this up. This is the winter garden, and expect your garden not to always look perfect. And as I was saying, you know, it's never going to be the same. It always changes and evolves through the seasons, and obviously it grows. Now, if you're out there doing it yourself, enjoy it and really embrace it and understand, and don't get frustrated with it. Understand that it has changes, and as like humans, plants get sick too. And always look for a simple approach. And as my father would say to me, always go to the first option, and that's to prune it back. If you see a disease, prune it off. If you see an insect attack that's uncontrollable, prune it off. You know, get rid of it, burn it off. The tree will, or the plant will survive and will react. If it doesn't, replace it. You're better off doing it that way rather than spending your life buying chemicals, spraying it onto a plant, and having all these side effects that we know nothing about yet. And they will only come to surface in about 10 or 20 years from today. Some have already, but more and more will start to evolve and expose themselves. So avoid your chemical usage in your garden. Keep it to a minimal if you have to use anything. At the end of the day, keep it safe, keep it real, keep it fresh, and enjoy every bit of your gardening. From me, Vasili, Maresi.